Hello racing fans, and welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for Sunday the 8th of June. We at the Big T, Turffontein on the Standside track, and it's a big day for racing fans. Following up on Gold Challenge, that's Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge race day on the Saturday, and a nice way to close things off on the Sunday. 11:40 will be the start of race number 1. And the headliner will no doubt be the Jubilee Stakes, which is race number 8. And it's attracted a few hopefuls for this year's Hollywoodbets Durban July. Alistair Cohen is in town. Of course, this show recorded 24 hours earlier, so he is working at Hollywoodbets Greyville on for Gold Challenge. That's the Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge. So nice to have him in studio. Alistair, seeing more of you during champion season, as we always do. Firstly, how it's been thus far?
Very enjoyable, Dees. It always is. There's no season like champion season in KZN, obviously building up to the Hollywoodbets Durban July, which after this will be 3 weeks away. So looking forward to the first Saturday of July, as we always do. Champion season will be magical, but I think the biggest direction that champion season's taken this season are the stories from all corners of the country. Direct Hit being the horse that I'm referring to. And we saw My Best Shot win on Friday at Fairview. Whether My Best Shot going to make the final field in the Hollywoodbets Durban July, that now remains to be seen. At the time of recording, 47 horses still hold an entry for the Hollywoodbets Durban July. We'll talk about the log and which horses in the Jubilee and the Agoli Mile still have an opportunity to get to Africa's greatest horse race. But I think the inclusivity of all comers from all around the country has been very healthy. It's added to the interest of champion season, and I think overall the performances, that finish in the South African filly sprint brought to you by the Witness, to see 4 horses in a grade 1 separated by short head, just goes to show it's just been thrilling racing, and I think punters and racegoers and racing fans have been treated, and long may it continue.
Okay, I'd like to make an announcement about the build-up to the Hollywoodbets Durban July, because the biggest pre-party on the continent for the race is at the Interside branch in Springfield of Hollywoodbets, and it's always something that racing fans attend, and most of the times it's closed doors after a certain time because they can't accommodate the numbers. I want to give you the guess. Alistair Cohen, as always, is there. Myself, and guess who is the third guest? That's why I'm warming you up. It's the candy man. It's Mana. It's Andrew Fortune, and our thoughts are with the Shaw family. Last year was wonderful, Alistair. And we have to give this some airtime because we missed the sunshine, and last year it was wonderful having him there, but sadly things have happened in the last year.
Yeah, we miss Shaheen a lot, just for the personality. The stories that you and I have from Ravonia with Shaheen, just you wouldn't believe. The man was absolute legend, off the charts. But most of all, a punter's pal. He'd do anything, go out of his way for the punters. The fact that he took a hiatus from racing and found his way back, helping punters, tipping to the punters, reaching out to the punters, doing all sorts of social work through his charity, which I believe is still going and still run by his widow Rashida. We'll miss the sunshine, but looking forward to having Andrew Fortune on board this year, because the three of us, we could get up to anything that night.
Yeah, it is going to be epic. It's the Thursday before the race on Saturday. Okay, race number 1, 11:40. It's a juvenile plate over 1,000 meters, and it's a maiden juvenile plate. Lots of first-timers here. Doesn't form part of the exotic, so let's have a look at some betting. Number 4, Simbini for Clinton Binder is at 5-1. We got number 5, Trey Junners, Sean Terry's runner, who debuted at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, and personally I think that was a competitive juvenile maiden, 13-10, and then the 2 first-timers, numbers 7 and 8, number 7 at 11-2, and the horse that's attracted some betting support here is Gimme For Sure for Matthew and Mike de Kock from 22-10 into 17-10. I was really impressed with this grey at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, Trijonas, because I had a word with Sean Terry, and he was expecting a forward run. That horse, Little Boy Blue, that was the winner, ran in the Group 1 last weekend. Wasn't disgraced, but I think there's more to come from this grey.
Should be more to come, Dees. Little Boy Blue, as you mentioned, ran in the Grade 1 Hollywoodbets Scottsville a week ago. Was soundly beaten, but it's, as we've learned over the years, when it comes to Hollywoodbets Scottsville, it comes to Hollywoodbets Durbanville Day for the Golden Horseshoe and the Golden Slipper, and likewise on Gold Cup Day. To go from your debut winning and then straight into these races, it takes expert level. So Little Boy Blue probably wasn't ready at the time. It was a nice run from Traianus. But I think that of the race runners, number 4, Simbine, might have the edge over Traianus. We'll get to the first time in a moment. The winners from that form include Sunset Warrior, who was a length behind Spirit Tricks last time out, and then One Tiger, who was well behind Simbine on that occasion, came out and franked that form. Of course, One Tiger was beaten about 6 lengths by Simbine and came out and beat a fair field in the form of Carnivan, Time Will Tell, and Bingo. With Bingo in this race, that also probably gives you an indirect indication of how he's going to fare. So I think number 4, Simbine, is the most interesting of the race runners, but there could be any amounts of improvement to come from Traianus. But then the first timers, D's, 8 Gimme for sure, as you mentioned, a little bit of support for this daughter of Gimme the Green Light, half sister to Quasi for sure. Well performed horse trained by Peter Muscat. You can check out the De Kock blog going into this race meeting for a little bit of direction. And number 7, Bridget Ann. I do normally get a comment from the yard. Sadly, nothing going into this race, but there is so much speed in that pedigree, it won't take too much for her to show up. So race runner, number 4, Simbine for me, but of the first timers, both of them bear watching.
Nice quartet to catch here, race number 1. And just off the topic of horses and talking about owners, Jason Murgas, I had a word with him. He didn't give me names, but he said, Dees, just have a look at my horses that will be stepping out with Matthew and Mike de Kock over the next 2 months or so. I've got some lovely juveniles, and I suspect that this could be one of them. Race number 2, Byport Maiden Juvenile Plate for fillies over 1,000 meters, 12:15. And we got number 1, Fiery Rose for Mark Khan at 18-10. Having a nice run with young Jared Penny is Mark Khan. Then number 5, On the Run for Jan Janse van Vieren at 2-1. We have number 6, Queen's Pact at 7-1. Rum de V, number 7 for Fani Broncos, is at 5-1. And War Talk for Sean Terry is at 9-2. I don't know what you make of this race, Alistair, but we got some first-timers that are obviously unknown. Is there anything that grabs your attention of the race runners? Does Fiery Rose jump off the page after watching her on debut where she was unfancied at 33-1?
She'll be a hard horse to beat if one of the first timers of sufficient quality. D's ran behind Limerick Lace. By the time this preview goes to post, we'll know how Limerick Lace fared in the feature on Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge Day. My inkling is that she won't be too far away, but anyway, I'll open myself up for a little bit of abuse there. But I think number 1, Fiery Rose, just going to acquit herself nicely, dropping to 1,000 meters with all the pace that she showed on debut, although there's nothing in the pedigree that tells you there's speed, and more speed. But with that said, number 1, Fiery Rose, did everything right on debut but win. So let's talk about the new bar pot rule that's been in existence for a while. If Fiery Rose isn't the first race runner home, and we do get a result of first timer by first timer, so the long and short of it is that banker number 1, Fiery Rose, in the first leg of the bar pot is definitely sufficient. I'll be surprised if Midnight Miracle, My Eyes Never Lie, and Queen's Pact are able to turn her over in the race runners race. But then let's go down the first timer route now, Dees. 3 Moa Cliffs, you'll remember the mare formation was trained by St. John Grace. She won double figures. She was prolific on the Val Sandwars formation. There's a horse of St. John Grace who made a debut that caught my eye running later on in the card, who we'll get to in a moment. So St. John's got the babies running in, it's a small sample size to be fair, but still it was a pleasing effort from the one that Serena rode first up. Then number 7, Rum de V, is a half sister to Grade 1 winner Red Saxon, who was trained by Joey Soma. Probably going to be looking for a little bit further, number 7, Rum de V. And then Sean Terry with the first timer in the same colours as Mrs. Geriatrics. Watch out, number 8, War Talk. But the first timer that makes the most appeal, just in pure speed, pedigree, precocity, would be number 5, On the Run. You said 2-1 the price. Not surprised to see her that short in the market. And she's the first timer that I gravitate towards more naturally than any of the others over 1,000 metres.
Okay, I think just to keep an eye on any follow-through with these first-timers, if there's any confidence in the betting market. But Alistair quietly confident that number 1, Fiery Rose, just reading between the lines, worth a bet?
Unless On the Run is rumoured to be catching pigeons, yes.
Okay, Fiery Rose, the pick there, and a bipod banker. Race number 3, Pinnacle Stakes, 1,400 meters. I mentioned at the top of the show, it's a nice card to close off the week. There's some quality racing, and this race, you just have to have a look at the average rating, and you see it's a 107. But this is the way they are betting. Number 1, Texas Red at 28-10. Number 2, White Pearl at 5-2. We got a 4-1 shot here in Give Me Another Chance for Matthew and Mike de Kock, and a form update. Ran third, beaten 4 lengths by Buffalo Storm Cody. Keep an eye on scratchings and declarations in the small field. 6, Reducio. I'd like to have Mr. Cohen's comment on this individual, who is at 33-10. I would say hasn't put a foot wrong in the high felt, carrying 54 kgs. Also, although doesn't feature in the best weighted column, I think will be competitive in the small field. And then Bus Stop and Hounslow, number 7, at 9-2. I'd like to start there, Alistair, with this horse called Redicio, who's been racing in these type of plated races of late, and holding his own.
I'm still waiting for this horse, Redicio, because on the London News, we've mentioned it on this preview before, on the London News Stakes, when finishing, let's call it 4 lengths to Son of Raj, he ran kilometres above his rating. Due to the conditions of the race, he couldn't get a big penalty. He came in off 103. I think he ran to 110. But he's still not running to 110 since then. So a little bit of a head scratcher is number 6, Redicio. What we do know from that run and from a few others, that he's capable. But how much more patience do I have? I'm willing to give him one more start, because he had a rough draw last time against horses who are running in the Jubilee and in the Hollywoodbets Gold Challenge, and who also ran the Golden Horse Sprint last week. So the first 3 being Musical Score, Fire and Flames and Truth on that occasion. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt with Samango Kamalo on board, but he's still not my top choice, because in the Pinnacle that he ran in on the 11th of May, he finished just in front of Give Me Another Chance and just behind White Pearl. And the weights tell you that he's got it all to do. He meets White Pearl on exactly the same weight terms, and he's got called it a length to turn around. And Give Me Another Chance is 1.5 kilos better off and was 2 lengths behind. So I think that those two, i.e. White Pearl, will stay in front of Redicio, and the horse that I've just mentioned, Give Me Another Chance, will finish a lot closer to Redicio. I think this race is a lot more open than first impression. Then we have Bus Stop and Hounslow. This horse is well above average. He's been tested at the highest level, tested at grade 1 level. Also ran in the Hawaii last time out, where he wasn't disgraced behind Main Defender, where at the time I thought he was biting off more than he could chew. He probably was in hindsight, but he's in calmer waters now, number 7, Bus Stop and Hounslow. And off a lightweight, I like to believe that he is going to be dangerous. His run in the South African Classic was very good. He got given a £9 penalty for that, but that's the punishment that you take for those types of runs. And in that run, the Hawaii finished behind Texas Red and in front to Give Me Another Chance, and he's got them absolutely cold at the weights, being 5 kilos better off with Texas Red, and obviously finishing well in front to Give Me Another Chance. So I'm prepared to tip him on top. In the place accumulator, I'll go 2 and 7. In the bipod, I'll go 2, 3 and 7.
2 and 7 for the place accumulator. That's good enough in this field of 7 runners, and if you manage to double up there, that will be a win in race number 3. Get on the tote by 12.50. Talking about getting on the tote, well, we'll be hoping that it's a respectable pool for the pick 6 that will begin in 13.25. It's a maiden plate over 1,160 meters, and this race in honor of the champion owner in the high felt, and that's Turffontein stud Mrs. Gaynor Rupert. 1,160 meters. Number 7 is a scratching at the time of recording. This is the way they are betting as we bring up the field. Number 1, Old Fashioned, is at 6-1. Horse number 2, Trombetista, at 7-1. Then we got Palace Prince for St. John Gray, who raced with blinkers first up when Serena Moodley was on, and I see that the blinkers are off, but keep an eye on declarations. That's even money. Number 6, Space Mission, at 28-10, and horse number 8, Stone of Scone, is at 8-1. I'm just looking at the race, and of course Serena Moodley is in town. He was impressed with this horse's first start at number 5, Palace Prince. He wasn't coming down for this race meeting, just some input to racing fans out there as to why he may not be riding number 5 Palace Prince, and he rides number 8 Stone of Scone. He didn't have any choice or anything, Alistair. He wasn't coming down for this race meeting until he got a call from Mr. Magna and Candice that if he's available, would he like to come down? And this was all done, not something way in advance, but closer to declaration time. So, Mr. Magna's given him a few rides on the day, including in the Jubilee Olivia's way. So, he's just remained loyal to the support that he's getting from Roy. So, 8 Stone of Scone, that's the lowdown as to why he rides that horse ahead of number 5 Palace Prince. But if you had to ask me to pick a horse for him in this race, if he had a choice, from what I heard, he would have definitely been on St. John Gray's horse.
That's very interesting. He's got a good agent to pull them 6 rides at the last minute as well.
Sure.
So that's very interesting input, because with the scratching number 7 Emerald Forge, and even before she was scratched, I made up my mind that I'm actually going to sidestep number 7 Emerald Forge, which is easy to do now that she's scratched. But both these horses made such an impression to me first up, Palace Prince and Stone of Scone, that I said to myself, these are the 2 horses I'm going to follow. They both screamed next time to me, the way that they hit the line, where they were first up. I would have anticipated that maybe St. John and Roy Magna might have experimented around the turn, going 1,400 metres second start, but back to the same sort of situation that they made their encouraging debuts on. If you watch both the replays, you'll see exactly where I'm coming from. Palace Prince had no right to finish third. A little bit of a worry that the winner went off at 100 to 1 and unwanted in the market, yes, but Palace Prince it looked ordinary for the first half of the race, hit the line with a lot in hand. Interesting the blinkers come off, but if he's learnt anything, number 5 Palace Prince, then he makes big appeal. The mare and all the siblings all went 1,800 metres, 2,000 metres, something to think about. But with that said, there could be any amount to come from number 5 Palace Prince. Then number 8 Stone of Scone. I'm going to go with Stone of Scone because that's a little bit of alliteration. Stone of Scone just doesn't quite sound as sort of as appealing. Same situation, perhaps to a lesser extent. Watch the race closely behind Limerick Lace. Again, that form line with Fiery Rose under the spotlight earlier on in the card. I was watching the horse hard up on the outside, and Peter Moore's colours again looked ordinary for the first half in the race. Hit the line with a lot in hand. With 54.5 kilos, she's going to be very dangerous. I think both of them are going to be improving a lot, and I make it an absolute 2-horse race. Pick 6, my suggested bet. 5 and 8 across the boards in all bet. PA, I'd bank one or the other.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with race number 4, numbers 5 and 8 there. Get on 13.25, the start of the pick 6.
Just quickly, one more thing. Number 6, Space Mission, is a full brother to MK's Pride. Just bear that in mind. MK's Pride was one of the big overachievers over the last decade. I know nothing about him, but just watch the market, because all the siblings, especially MK's Pride, are above average, and Terry and Zaki team up, but knowing nothing at the time of recording.
Talking about MK's Pride, then you talk about lucky owners. Where's Mr. Koos in Kale? I haven't seen him for a while.
Around. I saw him at Turffontein not so long ago. He's around, but in terms of ownership, I think he's got one horse at the moment, but keeping his eye on the game.
Amazing luck.
Unbelievable. And then obviously Chief's going to win the Nedbank Cup. He could do no wrong, Koos and Kale. Yep, but there are a couple of lucky owners around. The luckiest of them all is Ian Longmore.
Ian Longmore, 100%. I agree. You didn't even need to put in names into that hat. It's one name. Race number 5, 1,400 metres, 1,160 metres, maiden plate for fillies and mares, and it's the start of Jackpot 1. We honour champion trainer in the Highveld, Sean Terry. Number 1, Tuscan Romance, 13 to 10. First timer here, number 7, Magic Carpet Ride is at 4 to 1. Then there's some money here for Rendezvous in Rio, Joe Somers runner. Punters thought 10 to 1 looked generous. They've backed that into 7 to 1. A first timer from Robin Clausen's runner. For another lucky owner, Mr. Pui, that's Leanne's Love, 16 to 1 into 10 to 1. And 11, Merryweather, is trading at 9 to 2. That is the betting here for race number 5. Alistair, what's your thoughts?
Just quickly, Magic Carpet Ride. Can you believe? Number 7 on the card, Magic Carpet Ride, is a full sister to Space Mission and a full sister to MK's Pride, the 2 and 3-year-olds. I mean, can you believe it? They're making their debuts on the same day. So we've got, when I say a free spin here in the pick 6, all these first timers, 7 Magic Carpet Ride, 9 Emerald Contest, and especially number 10, Leanne's Love, who, as you say, has been supported, probably going to need a little bit further in time, all make some sort of appeal. But I think as far as the pick six is concerned, we can narrow it down to 3 runners. There are 1 Tuscan Romance, 8 Rendezvous in Rio, and 11 Merryweather. Of the 3, I'd lean towards number 8 Rendezvous in Rio. Julius Mariba takes her out for Joe Soma, drawn towards the outside down the Turffontein straight. Nearly a year off the course between run 1 and run 2. Her second start back, I was at Turffontein. She went down, I got to compliment Jo Soma for how she went down to the start and how she looked and how fit she looked and how ready she looked. The mother was one of the few that beat Via Africa. She was one of my favourite fillies at the time. She was trained by Daryl Hodgson, ran in the colours of Hassan Adams, Fairy in the Woods.
Oh, now you're bringing back memories.
What if I love Fairy in the Woods? Always I was prepared. Every time she came to the races, ran that era of Via Africa. She was in the Val d'Aran era. Not that she turned over Val d'Aran anything big, but she was in that era, and you knew that you were going to get big value with Fairy in the Woods every time, under the radar.
And Daryl Hodgson, speaking about people that are late, we know what a big supporter Hassan Adams was of the game and the industry as a whole. But Daryl Hodgson's, people forgot him too early. He had a lot of success. I remember him training for a lady called Miss Filmer here in KZN. Wow. Andrew Fortune used to write for him.
I was going to say.
Those were the days.
Yellow and black colours?
Yes, that is it.
Brilliant. Him and Fortune, Hodgson and Fortune. And then obviously won the Met with Past Master and the Gerrit Schlechter.
We've lost a lot of good people in racing, Alistair, over the years.
Only the good die young. That's why we're still going.
Okay, race number 5, what are we doing? Which 2 numbers?
So 3 numbers.
3 numbers.
Rendezvous in Rio can only come on with a first run behind Rachel Wall, who I think is a good thing a race later. Number 8 Rendezvous in Rio, I think is going to take a big step forward from the second start into this run. She'll be fitter, better, wiser, and very dangerous. Number 1 Tuscan Romance, last start went tearing off to the front. No surprise to see her dropping in distance. Now gets Richard Free. If she shows the same electricity that she showed on her local debut, she could be difficult to peg back on a track that is going to be running very quickly. And then number 11 Merryweather. We've seen the victory in Orleans form line under the spotlight a few times this week. It's not the greatest piece of form on the South African juvenile circuit. But with that said, the 2 runs in Cape Town do bring her into the picture. She's a well-bred daughter, give me the green light, and she should go closer than what she did last time. Whether that's going to be good enough to see her win, I don't know, but I do feel that number 11 Merryweather is definitely worth respect. If one of the 3, Emerald Countess's last workout was very good, by the way. Hopeful, optimistic, wouldn't say confident that she can get into the top 4, but the other 2 first-timers, if they were to feature, I think we'll be safe in the pick 6 because 1, 8 and 11 of those race runners, they should be among the first home. But 8 Rendezvous in Rio of the 3 is the one that I'm going with.
I'm jotting down numbers here, but before I do so, what's your bet of choice for the bet?
Pick 6.
Pick 6. Are you going for the pick 6? Okay, so you are in charge of the pick 6.
We're going big,
oh, that's it. Okay, let's go. Race number 6, the Highveld Winter Juvenile Filly Stakes. It's over 1,400 meters. And these are the horses that opted to, be in Gauteng instead of possibly making their way down to KZN. But who knows? We could see them later on in the season. But there's some nice horses here. Number 1, Alta Capitana at 3-1, Richard Faree and Sean Terry. Number 2, Back from War, Paul Matchett at 8-1. Horse number 3 is Limerick Race for Matthew and Mike de Kock. They've priced this horse up at 17-10. I want to get Alistair's comments about that price. Number 4 is Miss Novak's at 6-1. The reason I say that, because when I did take down the betting, I was actually surprised to see this horse, Rachel Wall, number 5, at 3-1. And then there is a form update for number 8, Rejuvenate for Paul Matchett's stable, ran second but was beaten 6 lengths by Golden Warrior, and that was on the 3rd of June. So keep an eye if that does take place. That's the daughter of Potala Palace. Yeah. And just on the betting, usually I am one that will write down comments, etc., and selections, and then jot down the betting. I think that is the best way because, no matter who you are, if you jot down the betting first, you will get influenced somewhere or the other. It's just the punter's mind. So when I did my comments, and my top choice was clearly number 5, Rachel Wall. And then I looked at the betting and I said, I must have got something wrong here. But the fixed odds market, generally anti-post, they spot on, but every now and again, there will be cracks in the wall.
So here's a case in point with number 3, Limerick Lace. And I'll get to my read of the race in just a moment. But Limerick Lace, on this very preview 22 days ago, I said, there's a strong word out about her. She opened 5-1, she started 11-2. So that goes to show no one took advantage of the whispers about number 3 Limerick Lace. She ran loose as far as the punters are concerned, and she arrived in no uncertainty. She never looked in doubt. I would have thought, and I didn't look at the market before coming onto the show, Dees, I must confess, I would have thought that it would have been 3-1 Limerick Lace, 17-10 Rachel Wall.
Yes.
Honestly, because the way Rachel Wall and Rendezvous in Rio runs a race earlier, so
And the fact that there was support.
there was support, a ton of support. And I arrived at Turffontein, it was don't worry about the race, don't pitch, don't worry. Numbers in the frame with Rachel Wall, and she was never, ever, ever in doubt. This daughter of Buffalo Bill Cody. She won. She's got a lovely action, got all the attributes. I don't know what the plans are, but the fact that they're going 1,400 meters 3 weeks before the Hollywoodbets Durbanville probably tells you that the idea could be the golden slipper on Africa's greatest race day. So will she be at her absolute peak? No, but I don't anticipate number 3 Limerick Lace will be either. The most appealing win of the 2 first time up was number 5 Rachel Wall. From that perspective, I'm all in. I'm going to go bank at number 5 Rachel Wall, setting up my stall somewhere. 6 months' time, we could have a discussion. Maybe Limerick Lace will be a lot closer. She's also got the worst of the draws, 8 out of 8, not a train smash, 8 out of 14, you would blink. But Rachel Wall's just going to have such an uncomplicated trip out of, should have an uncomplicated trip out of draw 3 with Gavin Larena on board. I make her a very, very hard horse to beat. Just what she put on debut, she was seriously impressive.
Okay, 3-1 available, and I can almost guarantee that after the airing of this show, that will not be 3-1. Number 5, Rachel Wall, and 17-10 about number 3, Limerick Race. Let's see what happens with that market, with that horse. Race number 7, the Highveld Winter Juvenile Stakes. It's over 1,400 meters, and as we said with the juveniles, I'll copy and paste into this race as well. There are some cracking good horses here. Number 1, Chronicle King for Candice Dawson. I want to find out if Alistair knows what's happening with the jockey there. We've been waiting. Number 2, Ideal Summer is at 9-2. Number 3, King Harold at 9-2. Then we got number 4, Mighty Eagle. That is from 16-1 into 8-1, so take note of that. 5, Real Order About It at 11-2. 6 is Red Penny at 11-2. So Heartthrob number 7 for Lucky Udelakis is at 9-2, and then 8, Take No Prisoners, is at 6-1, and then it's double figures, the balance. I don't know what you're doing here, Alistair, but do you have any idea on who could ride this if the horse does run?
He's running.
Yeah.
He's running. It sounds like James de Harbour.
Yes.
Sounds like it. But a final call will obviously be made in due course. Couple of broken telephone lines. Yeah. Hence, there's no jockey declared. Nothing wrong with him. He's a very nice horse, Chronicle King. He's got a winning chance here. Top choice, no, but he's in the pick 6. He should. A bad horse or an average horse wouldn't have won the way that he performed last time out. The way that he came back fresh from a 2-month break, he gave Gavin a hard time, which is not a trait of his at track, or wasn't a trait of his first time up either, where he settled in under Ryan Munger. But
So was Gavin offered the ride, or
Gavin was offered the ride, but he was always committed to King Harold.
Is it okay?
He was always committed to King Harold, and to be honest, I think Gavin's comfortable in King Harold because he's not had the rub of the green. Definitely not on his penultimate start, and last time there were valid excuses. But Gavin was, as far as I'm aware, always committed to number 3 King Harold. Probably one of those where Roy Magna called him up and said he's getting nominated to take the ride, and early bird catches the worm. Yeah. From that perspective, that's the understanding that I have. But a lesser horse wouldn't have won the way Chronicle King behaved and performed last time out. He still got the job done. He beat Golden Warrior. There was a long way back, 8 lengths back to the 3rd horse. Golden Warrior won during the week. He won by, tell you exactly how far, 6 3/4 lengths. He won by. So that's how well that form was franked. He's a very nice horse. If he ran, he doesn't have to win, but if he ran a good race here, he will likely line up on Hollywoodbets Durbanville in the 1,400 meter race, which is good. All the races are going to be great. I'm most looking forward to the Ridgemont Garden Province, bar Africa's greatest horse race, but all races, including that, are really going to be high quality. Number 2, Ideal Summer comes into the picture as well. Beat Bold Action. Bold Action hacked up at Turffontein earlier in the week. So that form has been franked. Bold Action had an indifferent run in between, so that is a little bit of a worry. But number 2, Ideal Summer, I think is going along the right direction. I think that he's got a lot of capability to improve. Therefore, he's in the play as well. And then I've got 7 and 8 as my other 2 runners. So 1, 2, 7 and 8 make up my pick 6 numbers. Soho Heartthrob, the debut behind War of Kingdoms. War of Kingdoms won again. He's got a lot to come as far as the handicapper is concerned. I think he's in the mid-80s. There's a decent horse in the form of War of Kingdoms, so no disgrace being beaten half a length. He followed up easily beating Mizzen Sword second time out. There's a lot more to come. He's well bred. He's related to a very good horse in the Western Cape, whose name escapes me. And then number 8, Take No Prisoners. I'm convinced that of the de Kock runners, Take No Prisoners finishes in front of Read All About It. Richard Free's in town, obviously, to take a few important rides. He'll be obliged to ride the Ridgemont for the Ridgemont team. But the fact that Callan rode and won on Take No Prisoners last time, I don't think there's any choice for Richard here. I think the fact that they're 2 runners, he was just defaulted to one or the other. Take No Prisoners beat Radio Star, who I can tell you is held in extremely high regard. It was a hard-fought win. I like a horse that can do that on debut, that doesn't lie down from a challenge, and he too could be an interesting horse going forward. So those are the only 4 horses I want to know about. 1, 2, 7, and 8 in the pick 6.
Yeah, I must agree on number 8, Take No Prisoners, whilst the horse, was involved in a photo finish for that win. 1,400 meters, Turffontein first up, whilst, he's had a good draw, etc. It does take some doing to win first up over 1,400 meters. So keep an eye on number 8, Take No Prisoners. Personally, I think that 6-1 will definitely shorten come race time. Race number 8 is the main one. It's the 4 Racing Jubilee Stakes, Group 3, over 1,800 meters. It's for a stake of 250,000, and just short of 150k will be given to the winning connections. The betting is like so, Alistair. The most interesting runner in the field is the one that's attracting all the betting support, number 4, the Equator. From 4-1, that is shortened into 5-2. 5, Let's Go Now, is at 7-1. Then we got number 8, Olivia's Way, at 9-2. 9, Immediate Edge, at 9-2, and it's double figures the balance on. So I want to kick things off with the filly in the race, Olivia's Way, because it's some time back, I think maybe a week or so after her win last time out, which was in the Gerald Rosenberg, or now called the Igugu Stakes, I think, beating Indian Ocean, where she had to go and fetch that front runner. And lots been debated and spoken about on Indian Ocean and Pierce Stratham that day, but the results in the frame, and she went and fetched the filly, the mare, and she won. I think it was a week after that, Alistair, that Mr. Magna actually called me to say that, do you have a ride in the Hollywoodbets Durban July? And of course, the World Sports Betting 1900 didn't run by then. And I told him that let's see after the running of the World Sports Betting 1900, and we'll take it from there. And immediately after that race, I gave him a call up and said, you know what, Saluka was obviously going to qualify for the July, so Sereno's not available for this filly. But the gentleman that he is, he said, no, she hasn't qualified yet for the July, so if she has to win this and qualify, then I'll go on to who I'm going to put onto the horse. But since, I wanted Sereno on the horse, he'll get the ride. And that's the gentleman that he is. So that's why he's riding the filly. And number 8, Olivia's Way. The plan is to get Mr. Gerald Sadler into the parade ring on Hollywoodbets Durban July Day.
Don't do it.
That's going to be it. So that's it, that's the plan of Roy, to try and qualify her. She obviously has to win this. He likes the filly, but it's a highly competitive race that doesn't stop there.
Imagine an interview with Gerald Sadler if Olivia's Way were to
I'd actually like to do an interview with him prior to the running of the race.
What a man. I mean, he was in tears after winning the Igugus. That was one of the great interviews. Johnny Gerudis, I spoke to him afterwards. He just said that was I will never do an interview like that again. He was absolutely, with all the trophies. And
he's always been like that.
Always been like that. I mean, I've got a video of him on an aeroplane, which I will certainly not repeat. Sure. But it's got a cult following. Yeah, Gerald, legend.
The days of him and James Goodman, I can remember those days fondly. All those trips to Gauteng and chatting with Gerald. He's an absolute treat to be around. What have you heard about the Equator?
I can't lose. That's the truth of it. I've gone field on the pick 6 because there's no way that on just pure hearsay, in a race that is crunch time like this, that I can nail my colours to the mast and banker a horse that hasn't run in a year, hasn't run in the Southern Hemisphere, that all the rumours are floating around about number 4, the Equator, that there isn't a horse on the Peter, there isn't a horse at Turffontein. Who works like the son of Galileo. Now, the reasons why, it's a field of 12, Atticus Finch. So I've taken on the log. Atticus Finch in the log. He'll have to probably be scratched to not get into the Hollywoodbets Durbanville. So
That's it.
Yeah, he's a. Son of Raj was in the next 7. So 2 horses on that first log have come out in the form of Fiery Pegasus and Sail the Seas. Yes. So Son of Raj could have been sort of that next one up. We don't know, but he's in the next 7. So he's got to perform because a bad run here, the panel won't look at him too favourably.
Bubbling under.
100%. Musical score was supplemented, so at the time of the first log was nowhere to be seen. The way that I've structured the log in my head, not in that top 20, could have been in the next 7, I don't know. The Equator, obviously the panel can't put him on the log because they know nothing about him other than what they see in the Northern Hemisphere. Let's Go Now was in the next 7. Navajo Nation is an entry, not in the 27. Olivia's Way has to win, correct. Olivia's Way in the next 7 has to win or go very close.
Yes.
Immediate Edge, not in the 27. But I think the world of him, as everyone knows. And number 10, Infinite Wonder, a nomination, but not in the top 20 or not in the next 7 either. So this is desperation. This is bow in or bow out for the Hollywoodbets Durbanville through the 4 race and Jubilee Stakes. For me, it's one of the stronger Jubilee Stakes that I've seen. Probably more competitive than strong, dare I say, but we've got a couple of Grade 1 winners in the form of Atticus Finch and Son of Raj. Now, going down the Olivia's Way route, she's actually the horse that, without the Equator and without my mum playing tricks on me, she's the one that I'd lean towards here. Yes. Number 8, Olivia's Way. And always listen to Roy Magner talking about this filly when she was untried, untested, and going through the divisions.
What the thinking of running her in the Derby that day? The thought process, what was it about?
Probably I don't know, but the way that I read it, Fiery Pegasus left her with a bloody nose in the Wilgeborstrift South African Fillies Classic. They probably thought the only way that we're going to win on the day is with a sex allowance against the boys. That's how I see it.
Yeah. That was a mountain to climb, Alistair. Filly against boys, I understand, but over that distance, that was a good run.
Very good run.
Over that distance.
That's all I can think of, but while she was going through the divisions, I remember racing at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. There was a meeting at Turffontein. I'll tell you exactly when it was. 2nd of November, the Yellowwood, where Robert Blumberg had Forgiveness running. Okay. And she ran 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. And I told Robert, I said, I don't know what to make of Olivia's Way. I know Magna likes her. Is she feature race quality? And the way that she won, I turned around and said, she's got to be good. She's got to be of a fair quality, Olivia's Way. And from there, she went through the normal ranks of the Wilgeborstrift Triple TR, or 2 legs of it anyway. Last time in the Ugugu Stakes, and a lesser filly wouldn't have chased down Indian Ocean. Striker measured. You know that you get great rides and victory and great rides and defeat.
No, I must agree with that.
Striker rode a great race in Indian Ocean. He just got pinned back by a horse who was getting weight and who's obviously above average.
A lot was spoken about looking around and everything, but we are all on different groups on social media, and she was coming up for you. She stumbled. And he was just, looking around to see.
Nursing her.
Correct.
To try and get her. And best of the, had it been a bad ride, had he gone too quickly, she runs distance, she compounds. Indian Ocean. That's how well Striker rode her, and that's how good Olivia's Way must be.
Okay, what are we doing here then?
Field, I've gone field.
Oh, field. But okay. You've gone field in your chosen bet, which is going to come up. But the guys want to try and minimize their spend now in this leg. They said, okay, Alistair, we hear you. You've given us the lowdown on what needs to happen for those that need to qualify for the Hollywoodbets Durbanville. Say that this was the race now that you are going to be, possibly playing a quartet, and we need, 12 runners. I'll give you 5 for that first position. Which 5 would it be?
I've got 6, and I'm thinking who I'm going. I'm thinking who I'm going to eliminate. 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9.
3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9 are in.
Yes, and I'll happily back that up for second as well.
Yes. So 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9. That is going to be it, racing fans. As Alistair mentioned, he's gone field. He's taken the safety, the past year, with regards to his spend. But if you're looking for 6 runners, which is my rule, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, and 9. Let's move along to race number 9, where we close things off. And this is the Goldie Mile, for racing a Goldie Mile over 1,600 meters. What a race to close the weekend off as well. This is something that I'll be waiting for. Number 1, Confederate at, I want to get this here. That is trading at, I think it's 8 to 10 or from 8 to 1 into 10 to 1, the way I've written it here. But 8 to 10. Number 2, Legend of Arthur, is at 5 to 1. Number 3, Kaminsky, is at 5 to 1. 5 is at 6 to 1. 7, Pumpkin Pie, is at 7 to 1. It's double figures the balance. Alistair, can you just double check that? It was my phone that was playing up during the course of the show, which I apologize, and that's thrown into the dustbin on the side here. Confederate, what's the price of Confederate there, Alistair?
I'll get to you in a moment here, Dees.
Because often when I jot down the prices, I would possibly put down the betting with the price, and that is the market move as well. But Confederate, we know how good he is. 8 to 10. Then that is correct. Because I thought I wrote 8 to 1, drifted out 10 to 1 because I got a slash there. It's 8 to 10. Now let's begin with him. Now I will tell you that the connections who made their way down to Hollywoodbets Greyville were absolutely gutted. But it's out of their hands. It's out of their hands. And I can understand, you know, the frustration, etc., of making the trip down and you're looking forward to the big race. But in the Daily News, that's exactly what happened with Confederate. Elevated TCO2 levels had to be scratched, and that was it. Because they fancy these chances strongly that they, Alistair. They were of the opinion that whilst they understand Justin Snaith's plan, etc., with Makazola going to the front, they knew that they had a horse that won in the bog last time out, and Hollywoodbets Greyville with similar type of tactics was going to suit him ideally, whether or not he would have, you know, been a challenger for 8 on 18. But they liked his chances a lot that day.
Biggest blessing.
Yeah.
Because we'll never know.
Yeah.
So it's all going to be subjective and opinion, but the bottom line is we will never, ever, ever know what would have happened had Confederate run in the Daily News. But let's say hypothetically he wins or goes close to 8 on 18, it's bye-bye Hollywoodbets Durbanville.
Yeah. I don't know why I was umming and ahhing about the price the way I wrote it out. Maybe, you know, on analysis of the opposition, I thought, wow, 8 to 10. But 8 to 10, what do you think?
The best horse, he's a better miler than Legend of Arthur, and they're the two best horses in the race. So I think that's probably fair. Plus, Legend of Arthur has steel shoes on, certainly at the time of recording. Both these horses are guaranteed. Well, there's no such thing as golden tickets for the Hollywoodbets Durbanville anymore, but winning the South African Classic and winning the South African Derby, if you don't get in, then you have every right to bang on the panel's door. They're getting in. Okay, Confederates and Legend of Arthur, if they stay the course until final field reveal, they're getting it. They're getting it. Okay. So again, the pressure's off these two horses. They're top horses. They've won at the highest level. And it's interesting because I'll go down the Pumpkin Pie Avenue now. When Candice was looking at the program, perfect race, the Egoli Mile. And we're looking at the history of the Egoli Mile. Horses rated 118 and 117 Grade 1 winners running in the Egoli Mile. Absolutely unheard of. Never, ever going to happen. All of a sudden you see the nomination, there's Confederates and Legend of Arthur. And Confederates ended up here by default, to be fair.
Yes.
And Legend
needs a run.
Needs a run.
Yeah.
Blessing in disguise being scratched from the Daily News 2000. A bitter pill to swallow, but it is what it is. You're over the limit. If you're caught in a roadblock,
that's it.
Pravesh, was it?
It's done, it's done.
Yes. If you're over the limit, you're over the limit. So, sorry, it's the rules. Okay, you got to deal with it.
That's it.
Legend of Arthur, Sean obviously had his options open with a whole lot of potential avenues. He could have gone with the 4 Racing Jubilee. He's opted to go here. Anyway, all that is, it's bygones are bygones. I think Confederate over a mile's going to beat Legend of Arthur. Legend of Arthur is likely to be switched off near the back of the field, do his best work late. Last time out, never in the race over 1,400 metres, was never going to be in the race over 1,400 metres with steel shoes on, with a bigger picture in mind. So both these horses are prepping. Now, the conditions of the race here, Dees, tell you that the winner, and if it is Confederate or Legend of Arthur, they're probably not going to get a penalty, but the winner cannot get more than £6 in the merit ratings, and placed horses, crucially, for the likes of horses rated in the 80s and 70s, cannot get more than 3. So hypothetically, if Don's King were to go and run 3 lengths behind Confederate, he goes to a 92 and he's run to a rating of approximately 110. So that's the catch, and that's why there are a few horses that look like they're taking chances here. But are they taking chances? I know what Gavin Lorena thinks of Kaminsky, and I know what Serena Woodley and Candice Dawson think of Pumpkin Pie. Is it all coming too soon? It might be, because this is taking on 2 horses from the big league. They're not taking on horses that might be on their way to the big league. They're taking on horses that are established at the big league. But are Confederates and Legend of Arthur going to be 100%? Or are they going to be 90%? The answer to that is no, with the bigger picture in mind. So I think that opens it up a little bit. Pound for pound, I expect Confederate to win. Legend of Arthur, for the horse that he is, cannot possibly say that he can't win because he's good enough too. But I've got 3 and 7 in the play because I know what the respective connections think of Kamensky and Pumpkin Pie. Pumpkin Pie is a very, very nice horse. There's a very long-term plan with number 7, Pumpkin Pie. Does he need to win here? No, but this is going to be a good gauge to see exactly where he fits in for the rest of the year.
Okay, we got number 1 Confederate at 8 to 10 and 2 Legend of Arthur at 5 to 1. This is not a curveball. This is an absolute googly now to Alistair Cohen, because this will tell me a bit more. Take out 1 and 2 from the race. We eliminate them. They're out. What will be your top choice?
Pumpkin Pie, honestly.
Yeah, that's it. That's my reading of it as well. Because chatting to Serena Murley after that win last time out, he's very excited to ride this horse again, number 7, Pumpkin Pie. And whilst we understand and know that the proven horses, the 3-year-olds thus far, are numbers 1 and 2, if they are just warming up, then I think 7, Pumpkin Pie, massive runner at 7 to 1. Okay, we close things off in race number 9, Alistair. It's been a race-by-race preview with a lot of thought and a lot of suggestion, and of course a lot of analysis from Alistair Cohen. And we apologize if you think it's been a long show, but we not often have Alistair in studio, and nice to pick his brain about this and that and everything else. But he said that his chosen bet is going to be the pick 6, and it's up on the screen now. Ali, you want to go through it?
25 past 1 is when the pick 6 gets underway with race number 4. 2 horses in the first leg, Palace Prince and Stone of Scone. By 1, 8 and 11 take advantage of the first timers there. Tuscan Romance, Rendezvous in Rio, and Merryweather. By Banker 5, Rachel Wall, My Day Revolves Around Her. By 1, 2, 7 and 8, Chronicle King, Ideal Summer, Soho, Heartthrob and Take No Prisoners. Multiply that out by 12 for the 4 racing Jubilee. 12 runners gone the field, and then the final leg 1, 2, 3 and 7. Confederate, Legend of Arthur, Kamensky and Pumpkin Pie. I tell you what, if we can pick up a result in the Jubilee and pick up a result in that last leg with Kamensky or Pumpkin Pie, that pick 6 is going to pay very, very, very handsomely. And I think even if we don't get a result in the Jubilee, I still think the pick 6 is going to pay well, because I see an even spread of tickets among quite a few races.
You know what really grabs my attention with your pick 6 is that we've gone against the market with the banker at 3 to 1, and that looks to be very attractive. Of course, we're talking about Rachel Wall. 3 to 1 banker against a 17 to 10. Bold move there.
We know she's not starting 3 to 1.
We know that.
Yes.
Alistair, thanks for your time. Nice having you in town.
Sure, Dee's good to see you.
All the best. Alistair Cohen, Gallop TV and myself, Dee's Dine and 2, the Valued Racing Van Aber Blast, find all the winners. And hopefully it turns out to be a wonderful day to close off your weekend on the 8th of June on Sunday at the Big T, featuring the Ngoli Mile and the Jubilee. Both got their name of 4 racing behind those 2 features. And until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gashe.